Here we go. So, welcome to the Woo with Amber. I'm your host, Amber, the lady behind my business, The Intuitive Witch, a business I grew by integrating and trusting my intuitive gifts, practically using my intuition to help me build a business I love and build a life I loved. It helped me to get unstuck from patterns that weren't working for me. It looked like me leaving a 9 to 5 that was no longer aligning, recovering from burnout, and stepping into a life that feels like magic. So, in this podcast, I love to share stories and inspiration that explore the mystical and the intuitive and bring it together in a really grounded and integrative way. I'm here for real conversations, deep intuitive insights, mindset shifts, and deeply embodied transformation. So, let's go to the show. So today I have Jen and I'm so excited for her to be here because I feel like we are soul sisters in that we've traveled a very similar path, and so I'm really excited to have her here. Jen is the founder of Soulful Existence, where she offers tarot, mediumship, and past life regression to women in midlife who are waking up to their spiritual path and want real guidance for the journey. She came into this work through her own unfolding, that moment when life gets louder and the soul gets harder to ignore. She is the host of Fate 40 and Beyond, a podcast that lives right at the intersection of spirituality, self discovery, and the beautiful chaos of midlife. Her whole mission is to help women trust what they're feeling, explore what's possible, and step into the version of themselves they've always sensed was there. So, welcome, Jen.
Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. That was a beautiful intro. I appreciate that.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so excited to hear your story and get to know you. Like we were talking just before we hit record, and I just love your energy so
Oh,
much already. I'm already obsessed and like biggest fan, and I don't like we're just
we
getting to
just
know each other
met.
right now. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to hear how did you come to this place where you're offering all these beautiful gifts and showing up in such a beautiful and authentic and grounded way?
What's interesting is I really didn't do this on purpose. Like life has unfolded for me in such a really amazing way. I was raised very conservative. My family was religious in the Catholic faith, and then later I was more involved in the Christian church, and things like astrology was frowned upon. Like it was just that weird thing you read in the newspaper, the horoscope every now and then. But I remember just learning about my sun sign and feeling seen for one of the first times in my 12-year-old life. It was like such an eye-opening thing for me because I didn't I was raised the oldest of several kids. I was four by the time they were all born, but it was just like I had to, I think, grew up a little faster than what most was, especially my sisters. And so to have a tool like that I felt identified who I was really awesome.
Yeah.
And I think my mind just started to, well, what else can I find out about myself? How else can I get in touch with who I am? I remember by the time I was 12, 13, I was learning about handwriting analysis and dream analysis. And at that time, it was very much like, oh, I like psychology or I like, the psychoanalytical stuff. And I still do. That's definitely something that like lights me up and sets me on fire. But over the years, like I started to stuff it down again because I became a mom. I, was wrapped up in career stuff. I just, wanted to make sure I fit just right in everyone else's world. And gosh, it must have been like 2012, 2013. I went through a divorce, and that literally just rocked my world. So I remember one night going, oh, I can read about astrology now. Like no one's going to tell me no. And it just kind of, it was like Pandora's box. Like literally everything from there just started to pop open. Yeah, it was really amazing. At the time I was a firefighter, and I I remember a few times where we had lost someone on shift, like some one of our patients passed or whatever, car accidents, and just kind of feeling that presence later. Like they would almost visit me and right. So like I'm sitting here already exploring astrology and tarot and all the esoteric arts and this and that. And then all of a sudden in my bunk at the fire station, there's a figure standing in front of me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So let's just add that to the list, and medical
Feels
intuition, knowing what, some of our emergency patients were kind of experiencing before anyone ever touched them, or it was just this time where it got really strong.
I'm just getting so many chills hearing this. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah, well, it was a lot, like that, like in such a short amount of time, it just everything kind of blossomed. And I think I coped with it by drinking. Um, I, that was probably like the height of my alcoholism. And later, much later, ended up getting sober. So I'm gonna have 8 years in a couple of days sober. So that's awesome. But yeah, the journey since then has really just been like more self-discovery, more learning of modalities. Like every time I turn around, I'm like, oh, I need to learn that one. I need to learn that one. And hypnosis has always been a huge passion of mine. Anything that has to do with the subconscious mind really is. But for me, it all kind of ties together, the symbolism of tarot, of dreams, of what the subconscious can put together on its own, like whether it's pulling from actual memories of past lives or how we kind of create these stories for ourselves. It's just like I love that stuff. It's just so much fun for me. I literally could talk about it all day. So
Oh, amazing. Well, I mean, that's what we're here for. So,
right. But yeah, it's just and then I kind of got to a place where not that I'm figuring not that I have figured out who I am completely. That's a lifelong journey for me, but I've recognized how much it's helped me. And so I want to help other people do that. And when I started my business, I was just like, cool, I'm the tarot card reader, and then I started noticing a trend in the clients I would attract. And most of the time, it's women who are in their 40s ish and they've gone through something on their own that has just kind of shaken up their whole world. And they are looking for that how do you say that word? Like someone who's been through it with them. Yeah. Someone who's
camaraderie.
also been through that and can help explain what's going on. And so I've, not like I said, I don't have it figured out for myself 100%, but I love helping people unravel their own journey. So it's been really interesting.
Oh, I love that. And
Yeah.
so obviously you bring all your gifts into your sessions and you just start to help people get like clear on
Oh, yeah.
where they're meant to go next. Because I feel like there's so many people out there where we know it doesn't feel good, but we were maybe unsure on like what direction to go next, or maybe we just need someone to like mirror it back to us because like we're
Right.
feeling it, but we're like it's crazy. Like I want to be a witch. Like that's crazy.
Right.
I don't think.
Well, and it's what I've always said to people is like when I live authentically as myself, whatever that looks like at that time, because let's be real, I'm a Gemini, so I'm constantly shifting,
Yeah.
like I can fit in anywhere. And when I'm authentically living as myself, it gives people permission to do the same. So whether that's with my recovery story and being proud of, putting down mind altering substances, or I am a witch, or a combination of them both. Like I have a really strong network of other sober witches in the area. And that, I mean, I cross the nation more than anything else. But, I've attracted like living authentically as myself. It just attracts other people, like attracts, like, it's really awesome to see other people start to accept themselves too and be okay with whatever that might look like. And
Mm,
sometimes it's not what I am, and that's fine. But knowing that there's someone else out there who's not apologizing for who they are makes it okay. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I can offer people.
I get chills with that. I think that is so powerful. I really do. I agree. I think like people living authentically themselves and being in their light is such permission for other people to do the same and is so powerful. So,
Oh, hugely. And it's so funny because I have North Node and Leo in my eighth house. And the thing I'm afraid of most is like being in the spotlight of people looking at me for direction or, stepping forward. But it's something I've done my entire life too. Like I've always been, I think it's more like the Capricorn energy that I have that if no one's taking action, I'll be the first one to make a step forward, and over time I've just learned that if no one, I mean, like my my most recent mantra is like I've been heartbroken, I've lost friends, I've been broke, I'm still alive. Like what is this going to do to me? This scary thing in front of me, what is that going to do that I haven't experienced already and
mm,
survived? And so I'm learning that it's okay and safe for me to step out into the spotlight, and it's still terrifying. Like it doesn't make it any easier.
no, I get
But
sweats all the time.
yeah, like it's just crazy. But I had someone go like, I would never expect that of you to be terrified of people seeing you. I've been a content creator for like 4 or 5 years. I have my own podcast. I'm probably when I'm feeling up to it, I'm like the center of attention in a room. Other times I'm hiding in the corner. But I don't I just don't think about it anymore. I don't until I'm scared.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's all I think about.
Yes. That
And
makes
it's so funny. I don't we were just talking, before, and I mentioned the app that I have created, developed. I don't even know what the right word is, birthed. But now I'm at a place where I have to promote it and talk about it. And like that's more scary to me than promoting myself as a person. And
Ooh,
so I'm learning all over again, of just how to step forward and do it in spite of being afraid, terrified, I think is more the right word, because I
yeah.
have put so much time and energy into this. So it's an astrology app. I'm going to plug it really quick.
Love it.
It's called the Cosmic Brief. And so the idea is it takes all of your natal placements and the current transits and gives you a daily brief every day. So really runs down like what your Mars is getting sat on by Mercury right now. And it's, like you might say stuff a little too quickly or whatever that looks like. It
Yeah.
has daily calendar integration from Apple and Google. So
Ooh,
when you pull it up, yeah, like I had this on my calendar today. I want to see what it said really quick. But it's, it brings up like the specific event and what the energy is going to be like for it. Um, I have the weekly forecast because I believe in checking the daily weather forecast. Why not the astrological forecast too?
yeah.
And then, of course, a chart that explains placements and connections so you can connect with friends and see what they need from you in that relationship. So this says for today, this is the main event for what's alive in your chart. Your ability to speak from a feeling and be understood is at its peak. Expect that you'll find the words easily and they'll mean more than you intend. Keep in mind that there's a pull to say the generous thing and a pull to say the true thing. You can do both if you don't rush. And then it says avoid oversharing to compensate for what you're choosing to not say. So it helps you just kind of, or it helps me, I should say, just anticipate the day. And really, I built it because I needed something like that. And that's really how it started. I was like, oh, I wonder if I can do, I love tech. Like that's just my favorite thing in the world, all the techie stuff.
Oh
And I was
gosh,
like,
that's
yeah, I bet I could do this. Like, I'm up for the challenge. Let's see.
yeah.
And then it started to grow in my head. And I was like, whoa, more people actually could benefit from this. And so now it's launching on June 14th. And I'm rushing to finalize everything and get it up on the app stores, whatnot. It might take a little longer to do that, but it's available as a web app right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can include all that information later. So, but like that's just how my brain thinks. It's like this worked for me, other people might like it. And that's just all I
100%.
have to offer to the world. But yeah, it's my baby.
I'm so proud of you. Like,
Oh, thanks.
isn't that it is an interesting thing. I feel like we continually go through what seems like similar experiences. It's like you had to like put yourself out there and
Yeah,
like share yourself. And now you've like moved into that place where you feel confident or more sure of that or
right,
grounded in that. And now you're like, now you get to birth the next thing that you feel
right.
comfortable showing and sharing. And I really resonate with the vulnerability with like you created something. I'm working on an oracle card deck.
Oh yeah, it
Terrifying.
is.
Terrifying. I'm like,
Meanwhile, the entire world is like, you did what? That's so cool. Like, no
yeah,
one cares that there's a bug in the app every now and then, or that it takes a 3 seconds to load instead of point 0.5. Like people are literally just blown away that I have thought of this concept, let
yeah,
alone put it into actual form. And now other people can use it. And I just, like I have to put myself back in their shoes. Like
yeah.
it is really cool that I thought of this idea in general. Like, and then somehow stumbled into figuring out how to make it. I
Why?
don't like, I still am sitting here going, I would have never guessed this back in December.
Yeah.
Never in a million years.
Oh
Was
my
not on my
gosh.
plate. I
That is
know.
amazing. That's such a short amount of time.
I know. And now that I know more of what I'm doing, like I keep trying to, like I said, I love tech. So I keep trying to digitalize my life in so many different ways, and created an app for my husband. He's a musician. And
Yeah.
so I've always been a creator. Like I love to create things, whether it was sewing or crafts or
Yeah.
whatever. And this is just like another outlet for that. But I didn't have that for a while. Like when I wasn't living authentically, that part with me was like totally dormant. So it feels really good to be on fire with that again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
On
good.
that edge. I feel like I'm obsessed with this because like I feel like this is the magic that you bring to like just even the people you hold space for is like you walked towards your desires and you are doing it even though it's scary, but it also feels like so fucking amazing and expansive.
Right. Oh, it's crazy because so my daughters, I have 3 kids of my own, and my daughters are now in their early 20s. And when I started my podcast, I had them on as my first guests. And
Oh,
it was their chance to interview me and, kind of like how I introduced myself to new listeners. And one of the like trial runs we had, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like putting on this new like podcast recording software, and I'm like, I don't know, we'll figure it out.
yeah.
But I was talking about how terrified I am of just like trying new things. I love my routines. Like I would do I my everyday morning routine is the same exact thing every day. I don't, like that's just that keeps the train on the tracks, honestly. But and they're like, Mom, you're the last person that we would ever expect that from. Like you just go do things. It
Yeah.
comes in, the thought comes into your head and you're like, cool, let's go do it. I'm like, oh no, I'm terrified for about 6 months prior, and then I'll talk about it and then we'll go do it. Like it's
Yeah.
not that quick. But just that's the version of me that they saw really made me happy, because I like one of my daughters is trying to pursue like art, and it's in the form of like window painting for stores and banners, handmade banners, and she does pet portraits and stuff. And I would have never at 23 years old would have never felt confident enough to do that, and I'm just so glad that she does. And so
Mhm.
it's that energy that I want other people to take and run with.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I love the
I
vulnerability that you're like, 6 months, I'm freaking out.
yeah, there's just, I think the more that I lean into it, like the shorter the time period gets though. And
Mhm.
also, I mean, like I'm the person that I'll sit, if I have to take a shower in the morning, I will sit and avoid the shower for like 20 minutes if I can. But like in the morning when I have to get up and I have somewhere to be, like I have to jump in. And that's how I treat almost everything else, that like if I'm going to overthink it too much, then I just have to do it, because then I don't have time. like I don't have time to second guess myself. So,
I'm loving this. I feel like I'm needing this. This is advice for me right now too, because I'm about to like make some other scary moves in my business, and I'm sitting here like, do I just go? Do I just go for it, or
right.
do I ruminate on it for 6 months and then?
I call those Tarzan moments, where he's swinging from vine to vine, and there's that in between period where he has no grip of anything. And you can see where you're aiming for, but it's not in your hands yet. And that's the scariest moment,
Yeah,
and I say that, but the biggest jump I haven't made yet is moving to a full-time spiritual business owner. I still have a 9 to 5. I still have like a very corporate life, and it's fine. It suits me right now, but I know in my heart that's not where I want to be full time. And so, I think like I'm moving to where I'm closer with that, but there's just so much I think when it affects more than just me, it's a little scarier. So,
yeah,
the financial implications of that. And my husband just changed his job. So it's not time for me to do anything right now. Like I'm the stable one at the moment. And
yeah.
so it's even scarier when it affects the family as a whole. So I get that. Like I totally businesses are hard. Like
I did
because yeah,
I did the jump. I left the 9 to 5 and the financial ramifications of it, but knowing like I was at this point where it was like I was squeezed so hard. Like you
sure.
talk about
Oh,
the
for
squeeze.
sure.
I was squeezed so hard there was like I don't think I make it into my 40s if I don't
Right.
do something radical.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with that. And that's what I mean. Like for me, it works right now. It's not, it's not super uncomfortable. It's not, I do know that where I'm at right now will be the last job I have before I become fully self-employed, but it's very manageable. Like I love the people I work with. My employers, husband and wife, they are amazing people just in general. Like there are lessons I get to watch of them owning a business that I need to see because I had horrible people managing me for years.
Uh,
Like that toxic corporate world is just like so much sometimes. And I got to get out of that into some place where they build you up and they're, very supportive. And I think it's important for me to see that first before I leave. And so
I
I'm
had that too.
I'm just hanging out right now. And when it gets uncomfortable or when there's, like a mismatch in balance and my business starts taking over, yeah, sure. But I'm not in a rush either. Like I'm only 46.
You got so much life left.
Right. There was a couple of years ago, I think I was like barely 40. And I went back in my family tree and I averaged out the lifespan of like the last, I don't know, 6 generations or something like that. And it was like 87. And that's, there were a couple of people that died in their 40s and some that lived into their 90s. And I remember thinking of like, I'm not even halfway done at that point. At 40 years old, I still have way more to go than I do that I don't. And so that's kind of how I've looked at it so far. And I think that does have part of like why I jump into stuff these days because, like the days are going to pass regardless. And, I might as well just make the best out of them.
And then jump into your business full time eventually.
Right. Or, like this app could take off and then I do other stuff, like have other projects. Honestly, like that would be the dream. I
Yeah.
just would love to just follow my passion, whatever that happens to be any given week.
I do feel like, yeah, you have that creative energy, that creative spark, which I have that as well, that it's it's definitely a very important piece for both of us to really
Oh,
like
for sure. Yeah. And I think like I like I know everyone has something like that, but someone recently told me because I love to learn, that's just part of it. And she goes, "Oh no, I'm good knowing what I know." And I went, "Yeah, that sounds weird. Like, I can't even comprehend that. What are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, like, I don't, and same thing. She's like early 50s. And she's like, yeah, like, I don't have anything else I'm dying to learn. I'm like, I don't even know what I don't want to learn yet. Like, there's so many things out there that I still don't know that I want to explore. So,
Mm.
yeah, I don't know, maybe it's the ADHD, maybe it's the Gemini. I don't know.
I think it's curiosity at your
Yeah,
heart. And I think that's like that keeps us youthful too, that
it does.
curiosity and that creativity. And I feel like that is life force, is like we are meant to be vessels that receive creativity and then we turn around like with the astrology app.
Yeah. Well, and also being a medium and having those types of conversations with people, I with people meaning the dead people, I get to see and hear everything that they miss about this world. Like, there's just so many things, and it's not regret. It's truly like, one of the most impactful sessions I had. It was someone's grandfather, and I don't remember if the person I was sitting with asked the question, but something along the lines of like, what do you miss most, or something vague like that. And the image that I saw was pulling a tomato off of a garden vine out in the sun and just biting into it. Warm and like super juicy and fresh. And I thought, that's what this life is about. Like, it's not the car. It's not, what job do I have? How much debt do I have? How big is my house? Like, sure, that stuff's fun,
Yeah.
but it's truly the experiences that we don't get to have on the other side.
Yeah.
The eat, sleep, breathe, feel, dance, move, like all of that stuff is truly what matters. And it helps me to kind of, I don't know, right size myself again.
Yeah.
Like, I get a little too big for my britches sometimes, and I do think I matter more than I do. And then I
Yeah.
remember, no, the tomato on the vine matters. Like,
Yeah.
it's what I do with it that matters.
Yeah.
So,
Being present with those experiences, I feel
right.
is so
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's still so much that I'm struggling with in this life, but at the same time, like, that's where my biggest lessons lie, in everything that I'm afraid of, everything that like, I'm not a good social person. I would rather sit at home and work on my projects. And, my husband is like the most extroverted person in the world. He's like, yeah, so and so and so and so, they're going to be at the thing tonight. I'm like, I have no idea who you're talking about. Like, that's just not my forte. But once I'm there and I'm enjoying it and I can get a little bit more relaxed, but, like, again, why am I afraid of people? Like, it doesn't make sense. So there's my lesson. It's like, what's holding me back when it's really just about connection, anyways?
Yeah. It makes me wonder about your human design because I looked up your human design, but I had it wrong. But it was caves is was the environment that came up with for you,
Interesting.
which is a person that actually doesn't like, not to say you don't like people. And I will go through afterwards because I had the wrong day. I will go back to see if it's still the case. But Caves is a person who like would rather be
Yeah.
like not around people
Yeah.
or what it showed me was blended caves. So it's
Yeah.
something that is like, okay, I'm open to people maybe coming into my space, but I also need to feel really safe and in my own space. And
Yes.
I don't want to actually even have to interact if I don't want to.
100%.
Yeah.
I always thought I was a very extroverted person. Turns out I was just a drunk. Like, okay. I just like the bar. And then once I stopped drinking, it really kind of opened me up to know, like, people are really difficult for me to be around sometimes. And I think, just being like a highly sensitive person, I can hear the person chewing down the hall at my office. I can hear, like, I get everything. I get bombarded. We had a company party last week, and one of my friends came and sat with me, and I'm like, back to the wall, as far out of the group as I can, just observing everything. And she comes and sits next to me. She goes, I'm getting hit with energy every which way right now. And I go, oh, I know. I feel it. Like, I get it. And so we just kind of like hung out, and and observe together, but yeah, like I have my safe people. I always say that, like, so and so is safe. My husband's like, what are you talking about? Because he's never met a stranger. And I'm like, no, that person is safe. And I'll tell people, like, you are my safe person.
Yeah.
Don't abandon me in a social
Yeah.
setting. I need you right here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like expressing those needs is okay.
It makes sense to me why the drinking made so much sense because it
Mm-hmm.
dulled your senses and it
Yep.
allowed you to like access a different part, like kind of basically like
Sure.
uh yeah, I'm just seeing like it's like all your senses were so dulled, then you were able to be in those situations because then you weren't actually feeling it or
Oh
experiencing.
yeah. Well, and I don't even think it was me. So when I got sober, I still wasn't totally sure what my spiritual beliefs were. Like I remember exploring a lot of stuff, but I didn't have, I don't know. I just I did a lot of research online, and there's, I don't know how realistic or like scientific it is, but there's some documentation of like energetic auric field almost disappearing for 3 days after someone consumes alcohol. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, like you really just aren't you. You're
interesting.
like, and it takes that long to come back and be you fully. And so I've been meaning to look for that project again, but I keep forgetting. And so I thought, okay, well, that makes sense. Like for days afterwards, and of course, at that time I was drinking a lot, but like I wouldn't be myself. Or it'd be so easy to go back out and do the same thing, and just repeat that cycle. And I was not anti-religion, but anything with God was very scary for me at the time. And I had a lot of unresolved issues with just organized religion on its own, And I reached out to a couple of people who were a little more I guess, spiritual or like alternative spirituality type of belief systems. And one of them let me know about Pagans in Recovery. And they have some local meetings here in Atlanta that people in all recovery formats, I don't know. So, like, there's NA, AA, Codependency Anonymous, all these different programs all come together for like pagan oriented 12-step meetings. And it's not meant to replace anything, but it's, like an adjunct to it. And it's really helpful. That was one of my first meetings. And so getting plugged in with other people who could use the same language as me to describe their spiritual beliefs was so amazing. And so when I say like I have a lot of sober witches in my life, I do. Like it's really awesome. I think I'm in a group chat with like 20 other sober witches,
Mm,
and like that's so unheard of for a lot of people. And that makes me sad. But I think the population is there, and will come out when they're supposed to, or find people when you're supposed to. So
yeah.
it's pretty awesome, and yeah, so now I don't have that to dull me anymore. And I'm learning how to handle all of those emotions on my own. And it's a lot sometimes. It
Yeah.
is, but that's
That makes a
okay.
lot of sense. And actually, it's like I feel like I have friends that we are in that same journey that you're describing, sober witches. I
Yeah,
calling ourselves sober curious because we like it would be to be in those social settings that it was just like that's just what you do. You have a drink, and then it
right.
was like, but why am I having this drink? Do I even enjoy myself when I'm having this drink? And a lot of us have been moving through what sounds like similar to you, where you instead of dulling ourselves, we just choose not to drink. And then sometimes then those social settings feel really overwhelming. Like
Yeah,
uh, it wasn't like a specifically like a party, but like even I helped a friend at a market and it was an
yeah,
app market. And we just got crushed by human energies. And my body
yeah,
was like, it felt like I got hit by a truck because
yep,
like it's just so much energy coming at me. And I'm so, yeah, because we're dialed up and we're able to like sense more
yep,
of the subtle stuff. It was like, like my body was actually shaking afterwards.
yeah.
Holy fuck. I
We,
got hit by
my husband jokes because, like, if I do anything social, for, like I said, he's a musician. So I go to his gigs every weekend. And if we have too much going on, he's like, you're dead for the next 24 hours. Yeah, I will. And he knows we've been together 7 years. He knows if I say, like, I'm at my limit, like I'm really at my limit. And it's recognizing it and speaking up for myself. I would have never done that in my early 20s. Like
Mhm.
I would have just made myself uncomfortable for everyone else. I didn't want to be an inconvenience. I didn't want to be the odd man out. I wanted to fit in with everyone. And now I'm like, screw it. Nope. I'm so worth sticking up for. Like I would stick up for any of my friends. Why wouldn't I do it for myself? So I'm getting better at it. Like I said, I'll designate safe people when I'm out and about.
Yeah.
And but or I'll say like, okay, I'm done. I'm leaving now, and just be ready to go. So
Powerful. Yes.
it is. It is. Yeah. I don't think I realized like how much I was doing that for myself. But yeah. And then, like as I become more comfortable with those social situations, it's been almost 8 years. Like I can pretty much go anywhere and not feel like I have to drink.
Mhm.
More often than not, it's like a really bad day with really bad traffic, and I get home and I'm like, God, a drink would be nice, but and then I'm like, oh, that does not sound good, actually. That sounds
Yeah.
horrible because I think it was Robert Downey Jr. that said something about like someone offered him a drink. He's like, no, I have plans for Christmas. Like if I have one now, it would just derail everything for
Yeah.
the next several months. And it's
Yeah.
just not worth it for me anymore. So because when I do picture one drink, it's not just one. It's
Yeah.
as many as I can get in my mouth. So it's just, yeah. And then you start thinking about like all the health concerns about it. Like it's a what is it, like the level 1 carcinogen? It's alters your mind. When I think about like
Yeah, you're
you
poisoning yourself. I say that
right,
to the
like
kids all the time. I'm like, they're having poison.
yeah, like blackouts, your brain literally doesn't make memories while you're blacked out. And sure, it wasn't every time, but it happened. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, like my brain, there's literal chunks of time missing from my memory. That's scary. Like it just doesn't do anything for me. And I don't have anything against people who choose to drink. Like everyone has to be on their own journey. It's just not my thing right now.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'm gonna fall off the wagon. I don't know. Like that's not a concern of mine right now.
Or
You
come
know?
at it from a different perspective. Like, I had a girlfriend who went sober for a while and she's
Yeah.
come back to it, but it's like in a new season of her life and she takes it in a much different way. Like it's just like it
Yeah.
amplifies the fun she's having and it doesn't like take her over the edge or anything. It's just like
Sure.
a nice little like for her it is working. And so
Yeah.
it just made me even more curious about like
Right.
maybe in the future, like, because yes, I'm definitely on that like sober curious path. Maybe in the future though, it will feel like a nice addition versus like because when we reach for it in the past, like I think about it even with social media. Like when I go to social
Oh,
media,
sure.
typically I'm like scrolling and it's like
Yep.
it's so unhelpful and I'm numbing out. But it's like, can I recultivate a different relationship with social media?
Yeah.
I can come to it and just be like, this is a tool. This is for my business. I'm just going to post and I'm going to like interact with the people and then I'm
Right.
going to get out and I'm not going to
Yeah.
fall into the endless scrolling.
It's so my journey with alcohol has overflowed into my journey with everything else. Most recently, food has been a big issue for me. When I stopped drinking, I gained a significant amount of weight. And I realized rather than drinking my worries away, I would reach for, and it was never anything healthy. Like I remember one day just kind of being stressed. I had a difficult job at the time and I drove past the Burger King and it felt like if I don't have that right now, I'm going to snap at someone. And that was my wake up call. And I went, oh, that's not a healthy relationship with food. Like, what? It's
Yeah.
one thing, like a sweet treat every now and then, but no, it was like, I'm going to punch someone if I don't have that Burger King right now. And I don't even like Burger King. It
Yeah.
was like it was the calories, it was the junk food, it was like that immediate dopamine hit that I was looking for. And so, this since, well, over the last couple of years, it's been a journey. And so I just found out this morning my A1C is down. I'm not I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. Like it's
Yeah.
little stuff like that. It's like starting to pay off. And
Yeah.
I'm hitting the gym again. I'm, back to being active, and that's huge for me. But I
Yeah.
think it's all a journey, and I have to, I don't know, be just aware of what my relationship is with all of these different vices in my life, because social media is right up there too.
Yeah.
Shopping, like
Mhm.
whatever it happens to be. And there's a lot of stuff that's readily accessible and um what is the word I'm looking for? Like approved, generally approved by everyone, like it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just be more aware. That's all it is. But also, and then I like go back and forth of like, but we're supposed to enjoy life. Okay, but like it's not supposed to control my life, you
Yes.
know? And so it's just that's the Virgo in my head. I'm like constantly back and forth with stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a Virgo rising, so I feel you on
You get
the
it. Yeah.
like to like get it right, but like
Right.
we also can't like live in a cage of like we don't do anything. So and giving ourselves grace and learning as we
Oh,
go.
I know. It's so important to do that because, like I said, I would do that for anyone else. Like, I would give grace to a lot of other people in my life before I give it to myself. And so I'm learning for sure.
Yeah.
But it's a process. It's,
Yeah.
there's no easy fix for that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I feel like really powerful just to have you sit here and be in your authentic self of like, I don't have it all figured out, but I am figuring things out. And I'm also a badass witch who is sober and who sees dead people.
right. Luckily, I don't have to see them anymore. Like that was
Okay.
like my wake up call, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to see you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't have my life figured out. And I think that's the concept for my podcast came up because I was doing readings with clients who turned into friends, and over and over I heard of like I should be doing this in life. I should be here already. And I'm like, no one has it figured out.
Mhm.
Literally, we're all just faking it right now. And especially as you get into like your 40s and then closer to 50s, and you're feeling like I went through a divorce or I lost my husband, I whatever, all this stuff has derailed where you thought you'd be. And I'm like, everyone needs to hear this. Like, everyone's trying to compare themselves to someone else that they think has it together. Well, little do they know, like, no, they're struggling too. It may not be in the same capacity, but we're all just what is that? We're all just walking home, is like that phrase of we're just here together. So yeah, I think it's so important to show up wherever I'm at, even
Yeah.
if it's my car.
Yes. The messy, authentic leader. That's actually one of my cards in my Oracle deck.
Ooh, I love that. I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's I just got chills thinking about that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I can't wait to find out about like I don't know. Tell me more about your I can go into host mode all of a sudden. But yeah, tell me about your Oracle deck because that's
Well,
awesome.
yeah, it's the same as you. It's like something that was supporting me looking into human design, astrology, and numerology. And then just seeing that there's like I started getting these like poetry, like channeled messages to go with
Yeah.
different energies. And then I was like, oh my God, like, am I making an oracle deck? Like it was just like it felt really good. There was a lady who was offering a course that was going to teach
Oh,
me.
nice.
And I was just like, I don't need this. This doesn't make sense. But I was like, feels good. It feels
Right.
good. Okay, I guess I'm doing this. And now it's been over a year since I started taking the course, and now I'm at the place of like I am printing my bags, and I am
Yeah.
in like tr final edits of my cards, and then I'm gonna like have an editor like look it over to make sure I
Yeah.
don't have any ridiculous spelling mistakes because that's like something that would happen, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, I have 100 of these, and they all have this."
I no, trust me. So last summer, my husband got invited to perform on a cruise, and it was for a very specific group. And they invited me along to do tarot card readings on the ship. And I was like, yeah, sure, that's great. And so I was looking for a type of deck that would have fit their interests
Mm.
and never found one. So I started to make one. I'm when I have an idea, like really happens fast. So I ended up making one and taking it. Literally have just used it twice. Once, like on the cruise and one other time. And I did not check my final proofs before I submitted it for printing. Luckily, it's one deck,
Yeah.
and like I'm the only one that will ever have it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have different pictures for two suits, but the words are the same on both of them. And so I
Oh,
was like, oh, okay, we're
damn
just
it.
gonna guess at what these are because I can't really tell. I was like, I made them so fast and like
Yeah.
they were just supposed to be for fun. No one's ever gonna see him though. But like, yeah, I totally get that. I think that's kind of what's stopping me from making another deck because I'll do the same thing again.
Yeah. That's where you'll get an editor and she'll just do a quick, at least like make sure that
I know.
don't
Yeah,
double down on the same word.
yeah. That's all I can do. Again, like if it were up to me to carry the world on my shoulders, then yeah, I'd be great at everything. But I'm not, and so that's why we have other people. That's why we rely on other people.
Yeah.
My strengths are other people's weaknesses and vice versa. So yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I'm so excited we did this today.
Yeah, me too. I was just thinking this might be a perfect place to like wrap it up.
Yeah.
I guess before we dive into like where to find you, do you have any final words, intuitive wisdom, or like a
Hmm.
message to leave the guests with?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, well, you say intuitive wisdom, and literally what comes to mind is like jumping out of a plane with a parachute. Um, but like you wouldn't just jump out of a plane, like without the parachute. You have to have some kind of safety net there. And so I talk about doing all of this stuff, and like it sounds really extreme, but like I said, I've overthought the entire process, a million times before I actually put it into place. And then even after the fact, this app has been done for a month or so, and I'm still tweaking it and fine tuning it and checking all the security and doing it, like over, over double checking everything. And so, it's important to take risks, but not do it with no regard to things around you.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I got that vibe when I was looking at your human design, which again, I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to see the updated version and your astrology chart. There was just this piece that I felt for you of like safety is really
Oh,
important.
huge. Yeah. Yeah, huge. I'm yeah, I'm not going to do anything without knowing that it's already okay. Like that's just how I roll. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think people here like go live life, go big or go home, and it's almost like expecting everything to just work out because you manifested it, or because no, it's like you still have to do the human stuff too,
Yeah.
and that's kind of a bummer sometimes, but
Yeah, it makes me think of something I've been like ruminating on lately is and I have a podcast episode coming up about this, but basically like choose your heart. Like it's gonna be hard to stay
oh yeah,
in a place that doesn't feel aligning, and it's gonna be hard to push your edges and move towards that thing you desire. Both are gonna bring up shit and it's gonna be
yes,
contrasty and hard. But what I've learned is when you move towards that hard that feels like what you're meant to be moving towards,
yeah,
the like the reward of working through that is so much sweeter than the reward of like keeping yourself small and keeping yourself in a place that where you're surviving but not thriving.
yeah, yeah, and that's a really good way to put it. Like if something lights you up, cool, go for it. Like that's what we're supposed to be doing,
Mhm.
but don't sit back and play small because it's scary either.
Yes.
So
And make sure that yeah, we take the action and we know there will be challenges, but like just coming to people like you and me to help anchor you and ground you
yeah,
and to be able to take those scary steps, but don't do it in a vacuum by yourself. Like I had to
Sure.
get here by myself. I'm sure
Right.
you didn't get here. Like you had your group, you have
Right.
like sober witches, you have like those people, and it can be whether it is like someone you pay to go to see or you just have
Yeah.
a community that helps you.
Yep.
You.
Yep. 100%.
All right. Well, it's been amazing to have you. I feel like we could talk for hours because there's just so much wisdom in your life and what you've lived so far. But yeah, if people want to get more of Jen, where can they find you?
Um, Social media is always a good place. I'm always online. Facebook is really active, Instagram. My website for tarot card readings, mediumship, and past life regression is soulfulexistence.com. My podcast website is fate40andbeyond.com. And then you can find out more about the app on thecosmicbrief.app. If
Okay.
so, like I said, right now I have people go into a wait list first, and then I'm approving, like making sure that everything is working for people as I add more.
Yeah.
But June 14th is the day that's just wide open for everyone. And then it should be on app stores soon. I just don't know. I'm
Yeah.
still learning that process. So
Probably by the time this episode comes out, it will be out. It will be
I hope
live.
so.
People will be able to just jump in. Like I know I'm 100% going to be adding myself to the list because this is
Yeah.
amazing. And yeah, I'm just so proud of you for going for it.
Well, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And anything else you want to leave us with? Is there anything yeah,
No, I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's so much more I could talk about, but no.
okay.
Maybe we'll just have to do another episode sometime.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So, thank you for being here, Jen. If you've enjoyed this episode with us, like, a share, a review is always so welcome because I'd love for her app or just for Jen's energy to find more people. And yeah, I guess until next time, may something intuitive and magical flow to you today.
Thanks for having me.